Welcome to Feisty Chess. We're facing e4 here, and we're going to play e5. See if we can come up with some interesting stuff. Let's play knight c6. It's been a while since I played the old mainline stuff. Okay, two knights defense. Let's see what white goes for. Oh, fun. All right, so here against knight c3, I don't think this is all that good of a move for white. I've got a fork trick with knight takes e4. Okay, so the idea here is if you just recaptured the knight, I would fork with d5, winning the piece back. But he's gone for this, as is so often the case. So I can't castle, but I have the bishop pair and I have the center. And I'll probably come knight e to g5 here with a check. My king will be happy on g8. Okay. Knight to g6. Okay, well, the best approach here, I've got bishop e7, followed by maybe rook f8 and king g8. I can go for h5, threatening h4. That idea could maybe happen later. Maybe bishop d6 is a better idea here than bishop e7. Let's go for bishop d6. Overprotect that pawn, and we can jump in with knight d4 at some point if we want. He can't go knight g5. Okay, now he'll be able to play knight g5. Is rook f8 a good move here? Yeah, I'm going to go with rook f8. If he goes bishop g5, I can always go queen e8. Yeah, and look, I really like the positions that come out of this for black. I've got ideas of bishop g4. I don't have h5 as an idea anymore, but it's probably better that the rook's on the open file anyway. He probably has to take time to play h3. At some point. That's not a threat until I go king g8. Let's say white castles. If I go bishop g5 then knight g5 comes with check, and it's a little crazier. Okay, if he's following this up with queen h4, h5, I think I'm fine after h6. The knight really doesn't have... And I can go g6 or h6 here. I can't go bishop f5, thanks to the knight on g3. g6 or h6. Well, he's got sacrificial ideas on h6 with the bishop, perhaps. Okay, I think g6. What? All right, I've taken too much of a break. I'm a little out of it here. One thing I need to do is expand this. All right, g6 obviously doesn't work because I just get mated. So h6. Funny that I was even considering that. All right, but now after the knight moves, assuming the knight moves, I think queen f6 is a good idea to not worry about sacks on h6. Okay, now I think I need to take this knight. I don't think this is working. Well, what choice do I have now? Rook f6. Now let's just calculate this quickly. Okay, let's say takes with the bishop is one idea, but then queen here, and his queen actually has to be traded. So that doesn't work. There's nowhere else for the queen to go that's not traded. So let's look at this line. Take there, and then knight here. If knight comes here, I can just take, obviously. Knight there, and just queen comes to e7, right? Then bishop takes, and yet again I've got queen f7, and the queen has no moves than to trade herself off. So let's do it. Down on time, but up a piece here. Okay, this is what we looked at. There's not really a threat except for mate on g7. I've also got rook f7, but I want to get the queen in here. And be able to follow this up with queen. And if he doesn't go bishop g5 here, I got bishop f5. And actually, I might have bishop f5 even if he goes bishop g5. That may cost me the exchange. Let's look at it. Bishop g5, bishop f5. All right, let's look at it here. Bishop f5, bishop takes, bishop takes, bishop takes, king takes, and then he moves his knight to safety. So that does cost me the exchange. But yeah, I mean, the queen has no moves here. He has to take the trades. Now he's got one pawn is all for the piece. This I've missed. This I have missed, but I'll get two pieces. I'll get three pieces for the queen. I can't go to h8 because I get mated, so it's got to be queen takes. Okay. I've still got central control. He's up a pawn by the count, but I think black's got to have an advantage here. I got the bishop pair, I got the center, and I'm much more active. And he doesn't have a perpetual. Oh, I could have gone rook f8 there. I could still go rook f8. I don't think his queen is improved at all being there. But I think rook f8 was better. I made that too quickly. I didn't consider my options. I'll have to play rook f8 just to get my queen side activated here, because I can't try this unpinning technique because that hangs the knight if I play b6. So, I don't like the idea of opening this up by rook takes here. Rook takes f2. I'm getting a pawn, but I'm opening up my king side. That's not worth it here in this imbalanced position. I'm going to go rook f8 now, admit my mistake. And if he goes queen h5, I just got to go back to g8. I just have to trust in the power of this position here. And I am low on time. Knight f6 check was a move I should have seen. I'll have to look back at that later and see what other options are available. Okay, he's giving away that pawn. I can just take with the rook. And the rook is at least protected here. I don't want to take here because it allows his queen to come in with check. I could play bishop e6 here and then follow up with this, and he wouldn't have any checks and I would have that. But I think it's better to keep that central pawn. I'll just take with the rook. I've been moving that rook a lot lately. Am I... Okay. I think I'm just going to take. And now, yeah, bishop e6 makes a lot of sense. Queen. Okay, if queen g6, I think... no, this is not all that good. Queen g6, and what do I do? Knight d4? Looks awfully shaky, actually. The knight protects the bishop and you get kicked away by c3. Problem with queen g6, I can't play rook e8 to protect this bishop. Knight e8 is the only move that protects that bishop, and then it allows him a check on e8. Oh, thank goodness he didn't find it. All right. He wants... His rook's not really going anywhere because my bishop covers this square. Oh, he must have missed this. What did I miss here? Okay. Now this is very, very nice. Plans. I guess get my knight in the game. Let's just get active, I guess. Oh, yeah, this guards e6. Knight here is probably a little more stable. I want to watch out for queen e6 check. Do I want to get my king over to the queen side? No, I think he's got queen. Okay. Yeah, this is good. This is good. If he wants to kick it, I've always got knight here. Knight f5. I mean, the knight on d4 just looks great. So, okay, Matthias Gutierrez is playing somewhat quickly. I do have a 5-second increment to work with, so I should be able to make this work. I mean, you want to say this is a material advantage, and it is, but at the same time, it's very asymmetric. It's funny that one of each piece is on the board, including the queen. Yeah, let's just play knight f5. And probably play g4 here. I didn't think there was any productive checks, and I don't really want to leave my rook hanging around unprotected, right? The key to winning these kind of things is to avoid the queen forks, and if all your pieces are protected, then you're going to be golden here. Okay. Maybe this is where my knight should have gone to begin with, but I've made him make some pawn moves. My knight could have come here from c6 earlier. Okay. Yeah, queen e6 is the threat again. I'll just put my knight back on f5 here. And now, yeah. All right, he's going to get queen e6 in, I guess. I have a little shelter for my king built, though. And that was tough to avoid. Interesting choice. Okay, let's just preserve that pawn. I've got a really nice defensive knight, and his king might be more subject to attack than mine here. The bishop doesn't have a lot of range, unfortunately. I might have the idea of knight coming in here, and then I've got mating ideas with the rook. So if he pushes c4, which looks sensible, I've got those kind of ideas. That leaves me open for back rank mates, doesn't it? Okay, let's just stay solid. Maybe get a5 in, and then everything's protected. I don't have to think too much. And I can come up with a plan. Yeah, let's play a5. So our bishop is kind of like a big fat pawn right now, but everything's protected, and he needs to make a move with his king. Maybe he'll shelter over in that queenside bunker he's made for himself. Let's see if we can get away with something here. Yeah, my bishop and rook seem to hold things down. If I can just do something fun with my knight, I might just be good. I mean, the knight looks great on e3, doesn't it? Okay, I can give that check now. Let's see, let me play a4. Give him something to think about. It's kind of a mating attack idea, but puts a pawn on a weaker square, of course. Okay. Let's open up his king's side. That's fine with me. Oh, I can't do that with my knight there. Let's play knight here. This nicely guards the back rank, actually. My bishop is super solid. It's cemented there, so it's a nice kind of anchor point for the dark squares here. So the knight blocks this check, and it blocks the queen's access to that check as well. So I can move my rook. I'll probably start with bringing it to a8, making him play a4. The knight can also come back here in case of emergency. Super interesting. Ending? Middle game? I don't know even what to call this. Early end game or... Ooh. What madness is this? I gotta trust in my bishop and knight here. I think if he tries this out, I'm going to mate him with rook a5. If he tries to go to b5, I'm going to mate him. Yeah, he realized that. So I'm getting this pawn with check. We'll go from there. Okay. His queen doesn't have any checks here. I think I can get away with grabbing that other pawn. Do I want to, though? My knight guards everything. But once the queen comes back, say here, it's not so hunky-dory. So I don't want to risk that. That's a nice little trap by my opponent. Let's just get back to the back rank, where we've won a pawn. White's kind of going to run out of ideas here. Okay, do I need to take that? Do I need to take that? What happens if I do take it? Queen f7, I suppose. Queen h3 happens if I don't take it. Okay, I might need to just give up the knight here. Queen f7 and then the knight takes g6. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm losing that pawn, I guess. With check. I still have, well, there's a perpetual. White may just take the perpetual here. But I have 14 seconds left, so that's got to be tempting for him. Okay, I can earn some clock time. Let's put the rook on f6. I don't see how white makes progress here. I can just repeat happily, actually. Yeah, my king has no moves, but... super solid here. I probably should have found a way to play feistier. I always think that. There's just too many ways to win this rook. If I put it on a square that's not protected, I could put it over here on a8. That might be one way to do it. What's the plan here? I can almost pre-move rook f8. Unless he goes for something wild like queen takes bishop. Okay, he's finally going for something else. If he checks me again, I will happily play king f8. This is no longer perpetual territory for him, so I'm going for the win. I can at least do that. I can at least be feisty in that way, with a super solid position where everything is protected. Okay. Let's mix it up. His king is in a real uncomfortable position here. Now the bishop can guard the king. Even after. So this pawn is not hanging, despite the looks of it tactically. He can go for another perpetual. My time deficit is shrinking. He might have a perpetual here, and I'll probably let him have it. Okay. He does have that time edge, but it is shrinking. This pawn is loose. Maybe rook f7 would have been better there. No, probably not. I can't take this as of now because there's a huge fork on f5. Now there's not. Now there's that fork. Right. Okay, you got me. You got me. Let's resign. Darn. I hate losing to this line because black is just so clearly better in the opening. And especially here. I mean, this is not a sound piece sacrifice. Bishop f5 would win. Let's look at the analysis board from here. Bishop f5 would win. I'm confident now. Looking at this line, he doesn't have anything better than taking. Then I take, and he can take my rook. I can take his bishop. His knight has to just go back. And now I've got 2 pieces for a rook. I've got control of the center. I am down 1 pawn. That white is a lot worse here. He can't castle queenside because he drops f2. So let's say he castles kingside here. Oh, wait a minute. It's my move. Yeah, this looks really good. Good enough. Good enough. I think. Yeah, I missed the knight check here. But even here, I mean, here I lost some critical time here. That would have been much better. There's no queen e6. There's no checks. He probably goes back here. But if he goes back there, I get this in with tempo with the bishop. So he probably goes back here. Yeah, I've got to be better here. I really like my position. Bishop here. Say castle's kingside. And I can get doubled up. With tempo here. My bishops cover all these key squares in my position. And I'm looking at playing rook f6. Maybe getting them, I don't know. There's lots of options, and black is just way better, it seems. Let's see what the computer thinks. Yeah, black is about a piece to the good here. Yeah, that cost me a lot. That was an unthinking move, that moving my king. Okay, but here, yeah, bishop f5. Bishop f5. Queen d7 is probably fine too. A little uncomfortable, but I gotta keep an eye on g7. But yeah, bishop f5. I even saw bishop f5, but I didn't look far enough at the move I actually chose. Classic mistake. I looked at a move, saw it lost in exchange, rejected it, even though I was already up a piece, and I'd still be better after losing the exchange. Rejected that move, and then went straight for the next move, which I only looked at, a little bit. I didn't look at it too much, and I didn't see this possibility. I didn't look at this check. It's a nice shot by white there. Especially when you force an opponent's hand, like to trade queens here would be just to lose the game, I think. So he's really got to find something, and you should be in that same position when you analyze it. You should say, I should be able to find this if that's forcing for him. If it's kind of forced for him, then it's forced for me. But led to a really interesting imbalance. So yeah, even here, I'm better. Yeah, rook takes f4. It likes bishop g4. Oh, I didn't see bishop g4 with tempo. That's nice. Bishop g4, and then I got to imagine queen here. And then bishop f5 with tempo. Okay. Queen back to h5. Now rook f8. And I'm sitting pretty here. Got my two bishops, and I haven't activated his inactive rook. If he takes, it takes him longer to do that. Let's say, I don't know, rook f8 doesn't even make sense now. g3, huh? Taking, does that just lose? No, it loses the advantage. b6 is an interesting. What's the point of b6? Well, okay. I traded instead. Oh, wow, oh my goodness, that's enough to give him a huge advantage. The thing is, I can't ever prevent bishop, queen. Okay, I shouldn't have been so worried about d5. I think Knight e7. Queen g6. He missed this, and now I'm off the hook. Yeah, this is huge mistake, and I definitely should win this, but it's tricky. I think maybe rook f6 is the right move here to prevent that instead of knight d5, but knight f5, I mean. Yeah, now rook f6 makes a lot of sense. But it's not really threatening anything. Actually, rook f6 is really tough to play. I felt like I had to play knight h6 here because there's this line, which the computer doesn't even go into. Oh, the knight covers the g-pawn. Of course, that's really nice. Oh. I mean, anybody kind of knows that black is better here, but you also don't really want to play it. So I didn't have to play knight there, and this loses all my advantage. He should have just taken the pawn. I think he didn't want to lose anything over here. Let's look at this line. What if he just takes the pawn? It says a draw. He was probably worried about this kind of stuff. Let's say the king comes up to avoid a perpetual. Now queen takes b7. Apparently he's better. a5. He just still wins the pawn with the... Why play a5? Can't play rook here to try to attack the pawn. Yeah, I could go here, but that's a lot of pawns to give up. Now I can win this key kingside pawn, but he's going to get rolling. Okay, he's got the extra pawn to compensate for the big piece deficit. And I'm going to have to give up probably my knight or something for his pawn. It's probably what the computer is seeing. Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild. How do you analyze these kind of positions? An interesting move here. I thought he'd run to the king, run king to b8, but gosh, now I've got to be a lot better. It does like rook takes d3. Oh, of course, because, and I even looked at this. I'm completely capable of taking here because he can go here all he wants. Wherever he checks from, I'm just going to play knight g8. I've got that covered. So I can go rook d2, king b1. I can threaten over here. He's got a guard with queen g4. I mean, he can. Well, no, he can't do that. Yeah. All right, I chickened out. At the moment things were turning my way, I forgot this knight. I forgot how useful he was. I knew he had this covered, but then I thought, uh-oh, with queen here, how do I prevent the mate? And I forgot. I had even said this out loud. I'd said, knight g8 solves all my problems, right? Everything's protected. There's still ideas like, well, okay, let's look at the concrete line here. Let's say, I don't know, I go after this pawn. Let's say he gives, now he can give a check. Knight g8, and then maybe try this. It says rook h3 is the way to go. Really? Because queen f7 just leads to mate. So rook h3, yeah. This is still kind of scary stuff. What if this? I just have to give up the rook. And apparently I can hold this. I mean, that makes sense. I might even try for a win here, but wow, that's a wild position. But the thing is, I have that check, and then I have rook there. So now if he checks, I just block with knight g8. And actually, I'm winning this pawn soon. And I'm about to make my king completely safe. And I can start to plan things with this rook on the h-file. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, man, do I have to look at the rest of the game? Just a lot of... I could have continued doing this. I could have just kept going back and forth. Even here, I could go rook f8. But I went for this funky business. I probably should just play king h7 here. Now I gotta go c5. That would have made sense. Yeah. Now I'm losing that pawn. I tried to go for counterplay. c5, then queen h3. Well, what about something like, if he comes here to attack this pawn, rook f6. Yeah, he can never take this with his king because of discoveries. So yeah, I just got a fortress here. I should have gone for a fortress idea. I tried to play feistier. Yeah, in getting rid of one fork, I enabled another. At this point, rook f6. Let's see what the computer says. Rook f6, king takes. I can get my king in here. This threatens to win that, but now... Yeah, I still hold on to everything. I've got the extra pawn, and the material is actually equal. This is a tough one to try to win, for sure. For either side, there's just a lot that could go wrong. Anyway, the game ended, as it usually does, with a time trouble tactical error here. So, all right, I suppose king h6 would have been better. I wonder if that would have been a pretty good try. Yeah, queen takes here, and now I can take. Queen takes b6. But now, oh, he can unleash a discovery there. It likes rook f3. What about this? Just staying on the super safe diagonal. c5, push. King b7. King h5, yeah. I think he would just push, but now I'm pushing. Queen b1. Queen f5. Oh, it's too tactical. I can't even. Queen h3. Oh, he's going to find a way to pick up that pawn, isn't he? Ah, queens. You just got to keep everything protected when queens are around and your king is no shelter. So anyway, good game, Matheus Gutierrez. And I hope this was educational at least. Stay feisty, folks.